Hello and welcome. This is David Cameron Gikandi, and I am very happy that you chose to spend your time to come and find out what a happy pocket full of life is all about. So let's get into it real quick because I value your time. It's valuable. So let's just dive into it. Now, what's a happy pocket full of life going to do for you? Well, one thing is you will discover the fundamental nature of personal reality. We are individuals. The first book, A Happy Pocket Full of Money, covered the universal principles at work in life. So this one, A Happy Pocket Full of Life, covers the fundamental nature of your personal reality. How does your personal reality actually come about and interact with the larger whole of life, rather. And then the next thing you're gonna get out of this book is you're going to master the art of crystallizing your preferred reality. I'm not saying this some magical thing whereby all your challenges are gonna go and you're gonna be like forever happy. You will still have challenges, but you'll be in a place of, instead of being a victim, you'll be in a place of power. Instead of suffering, you'll actually be enjoying it, and things like that. And you will get more and more and more of what you want in your life. The third part is that this will be a journey of self-acceptance and empowerment. And I'm about to show you what's in the book, so you're going to see that these bullet points that I'm giving you right now are actually things that you can achieve through very practical tools and lessons that we're going to be going through in this book. You'll also discover a tremendous amount about yourself and yourself. By that I mean your higher self. It's just a natural outcome. In fact, you're not going to you cannot get any of these other benefits without knowing who you truly are. So this is going to be one of the best parts about this book. You're going to discover a tremendous amount about yourself. And then you are also going to discover why prayer, goal setting, to-do lists, law of attraction, manifesting, creative visualization, lifestyle design, and even global activism often seem to not work as they should. Very many people say, oh, I did stuff like I watched The Secret and I try to manifest my reality and nothing happening. The law of attraction doesn't work for me. I set goals, they don't come real. I visualize, but nothing happens. So throughout this journey, you're going to understand exactly why this is so. Because, to be honest with you, the law of attraction is always working. Visualization is always working. It's not like it chooses to or not to. So why is it that sometimes it seems or appears to not work? You'll discover why. So in a nutshell, this book is about the use of the hero's journey, 9 levels of consciousness, archetypes, chakra energy centers, and the energetics of life. And you're gonna shortly in this video see what all those mean. Anyways, to reclaim and manage your authentic power so as to accept, manifest, and live a life of all-round life success, empowerment, peace, healing, awakening, forgiveness, very important, self-acceptance, self-responsibility, and letting go. So the tools or the fundamentals of life we're going to cover, including the hero's journey, levels of consciousness, archetypes, energy centers, and how the building blocks of life. That's what I'm calling the energetics of life. When you discover this, your authentic power is just going to go up, and these are the benefits you're going to have. So let's kind of get a sample of the book. Let's get into it and see what's in store. The book starts off with a chapter on chakras, or the energy centers of our body. A lot of us have heard about chakras, but we don't understand them. We think it's something to do with Hindu religion or something. But chakras are simply the centers. You see, your body is built as an energy system. We can all appreciate that. We know very well that energy runs through our body. So it's an energy system. Now, as with any other energy system in life, including your car or your house or whatever, it has circuits, it has capacities, it has energy processing and distribution centers, and now these are the ones that are being called chakras. And this energy flows and it's used internally and externally to manifest your life, to keep yourself alive, XYZ, in physical reality. So this is why it's very important to understand how your energetic system works, because that's pretty much what runs everything. Yeah. So once you get this, I mean, everything starts to clear up. So that's why this book starts with this topic, and then you learn how to methodically manage your authentic power, because this energy, this life force, is your authentic power. But many of us don't even know how to use it. In fact, we think it's very weak, whereas it's extremely strong. I mean, the power that we do have is insanely great, but we tell ourselves that we don't have it, or we are less than, and that's why we experience a life that is less than. But if you just understand how great you are, then automatically you find that you don't need to seek something outside of yourself to feel better, or to achieve more, or live a life of happiness, or whatever it is that you're after. So these are some screenshots from parts of the book, and then of course some more screenshots from parts of the book. So we really get into what each chakra is about, how it functions, things like that. So these are just small clips from the book. We really get into it. It's very important to learn that. After we're done with chakras, we get into another topic, chapter, and this one is about archetypes. These are, you could call an archetype as a pattern or a template, and they are age-old templates or patterns that are so ingrained in our human psyche. They are, in fact, not just human, it's beyond human. They are eons old. They are ancient as the hills, and you recognize some of them. For example, the child is an archetype, the victim is an archetype, the prostitute, saboteur. In fact, even events like a wedding is an archetype. You know, initiation, birth, death, romance. Those are all patterns. If you look at life, it's made of patterns everywhere. We are pattern making and pattern following, you could say, beings. Yeah, so once you understand how these patterns kind of shape and color your life, then you can really start to use them properly. Yeah, the most common patterns that all of us have are the child, victim, prostitute, and saboteur archetype. The you know, and the child we really recognize, because especially today, each of us know somebody who has the archetype called the wounded child. Now that they're always saying how my life, my childhood was really crap, and so now my life is crap. You know, that's a wounded child archetype talking. But every archetype has a dual nature. It has a positive and a negative side, or a light and shadow of it, you know. For example, the child's positive aspect or light shadow is I am in charge. When he goes to the opposite is no, I'm not. Or I think you understand. It's or the victim, for example. That's easy to understand. A victim says that in its shadow says, oh, things happen to me, I'm helpless. But in its positive aspect, the victim archetype actually shows you how to be responsible and strong. See, so there's a whole lot to learn here, but it's very simple once you start to get it. Very simple. But anyways, this chapter gets into that in depth. Then we get into another chapter, which is about how does our physical reality come about. And actually, this chapter is copied and pasted like literally from the first book, A Happy Pocket Full of Money. So we look at the true nature of our physical dimension reality, because too many of us think that it's, you know, it's solid and hard and unchangeable. But once you start to see through it, you realize that it's fluid and liquid, and it's flashing into and out of existence billions of times a second. In other words, the tree or the rock that has been lying outside your house for the last 20 years and it seems to be sitting there every single day is actually flashing in and out of reality billions of times a second. And a scientist can prove that to you using quantum physics. It's not a rock, really. That's just what you see. So anyways, we get into this. And also time is not exactly linear and uniform. As I say, time is just something that we perceive with our senses, but it doesn't actually exist independently. But you know, once you read the book, this chapter, it becomes clear. Right now it just sounds like hocus pocus. And then we get into the 9 levels of consciousness, which are directly related to physical experience. This is another huge key in understanding the deliberate creation and mastery. Why is this so? If you look at this screen, you can see there's 9 boxes, you could say. At the very bottom, the green ones are things that we're used to. The very bottom one is our thoughts. The second lowest one is our emotions, and the third is our beliefs. So we all know that those are levels of consciousness. A thought level is one, emotions another level of consciousness, beliefs is another level, which is actually, we're not usually even consistently conscious of what our beliefs are unless we make an effort to discover what our beliefs are. And then we all have heard of people saying, oh, your higher self, the higher self. So now the 6 levels that you see above the green ones, those are your higher self. Now let's play with this. At the very top you see a pink box that says Oversoul, right? Below it is the individual soul or spirit. Let's use the game of chess to illustrate how this is useful to us. Imagine that the Oversoul within it contains many souls. Each one of these souls is an individuation, or you could say, but it's still part of the Oversoul. Just in the same way that your body has 100 trillion cells and you act like one being, but you're actually 100 trillion separate beings within the one. Your physical body I'm talking about, it's made up of 100 trillion cells. Each one of those cells is independent of you, but they all work together to form your skin, your heart, your eyes, and everything. See? So one piece decides to be a chess piece. Okay, that's the individual soul or spirit. Below that, it creates within it a higher mind, yeah, which conceives of the game of chess. We're using chess as an analogy, an example. How does physical reality come about? The higher mind below that has a template reality, so that one creates the game, the template of the game. Below that, there is a collective automatic mind, which you can which you can say are the collective agreements on the rules of operation of physicality. Because think about this: we have gravity, we have, when water flows, it flows down. All these things are being managed at some level. You have to appreciate that at least. So at what level is all this being managed? It's a higher part of yourself called the collective automatic mind. Okay, and below the collective automatic mind, you have the individual automatic mind. So this is the one that kind of automatically runs themes of your life. Some people have a theme of being, I don't know, a doctor, whatever, and then a father, and others have a theme whereby they always keep trying to do thing X, but it eludes them. But they what I'm trying to say, each one of our lives seems to have a purpose, okay, and other things that are beyond purpose, like tendencies, or you could even say natural talents and all those kind of things. Yeah, these are managed at the individual automatic mind level, and this is still part of your higher self. You could say these set the rules of your particular chess piece. You see what I mean? So the template reality set the rules of the chess game, and then the individual automatic mind sets the rules of your chess piece. So like if you play chess, you have a king, a queen, a rook, a pawn, all these pieces, and they all have their different ways of moving and what they can do or cannot do. So that's what happened. Now those parts we've talked about are usually, you're not usually conscious of those parts of yourself, your higher self, in your waking reality. Most of us are not. What we're usually conscious of is only the 2 lowest, thoughts and emotions. And those 2 or 3 are actually not at the level that cause reality to happen. They are the level that we perceive reality. In other words, our thoughts and our emotions are tools that we use to perceive reality and make choices. But the creation part is actually happening at the higher self level. So we get into this in good detail in this book, and because you can actually start to really work together with your higher self in a more close manner, so that you can have more deliberate creation in your life and less suffering, you could say, especially with practice. Now this is a blow up of the last 3 levels that we just talked about, the green ones. As we said, those beliefs below that is feelings and emotions. In other words, your feelings and emotions arise because of your beliefs, okay? And once the feelings and emotions arise, then thoughts come about from that, and then obviously you take action and whatever. But that upper triangle is what kind of mirrors itself as a physical life that you experience in your life. So it's kind of like as above so below. Your inside determines what your outside experience is, but we get into that again in depth in the book. I'm just giving an overview. And finally, we have the hero's journey. Now, if you've ever watched any movie, I'm sure you've watched movies, or you've read people's life stories, or you look at your own life story or the life story of people close to you, you realize that entire lives, or even sections of somebody's life, it could be an event or whatever, are all telling a story. The whole of life is telling a story. The interesting thing is that this story is also an archetype. It's a template. And in fact, in psychology, they call it the monomyth. It's the same storyline. If you look at this chart, we'll go through it real quick. This chart is the same one that they use when they're making movies in Hollywood. Why? Because when you see a well-made movie, it follows this chart, and you feel like you identify with that movie, you relate to it. And the reason why is because this chart, this storyline, is ingrained in your psyche. So if you start to live your life according to, or plan it according to story form, then you realize that you're less afraid of challenges. You have more positive challenges instead of negative ones. To achieve your goals, you're comfortable because you go through this. Now, real quick, the upper half of this circle is marked as the ordinary known world. That's where you usually are. And then the lower half is marked as the special unknown world. Now, play with me real quick. At the very top, number 1, and we'll jump some of this, you have your you're usually, before, let's say, your journey in your life, or let's say you want to achieve something, or you've you want to get rid of a habit that you've always had, or whatever it is you want to do with your life. You're usually at a place where you're sort of comfortable with, or at least you're at rest with whatever situation you're facing in your life. And then something sparks your awareness, and you realize, I want to start changing something here. I want to get that thing, or whatever it is. And then you actually have fear, because you know very well internally you're going to go into a place, into a world that you don't know. If you want to change something or get something new, you are going to go into a world that you don't know. For a while, you'll be a lost character in this unknown world, and you'll face trials and challenges and tests and everything. And at some point, some of your older beliefs and ways of seeing the world are going to die. We are now in step 8 of this circle at the very bottom. Some parts of you are going to die. Some of your old beliefs, whatever, are going to drop. You feel like you're lost for a short while. Maybe it could be a day, it could be a year, it could be a few years. And then after that, you will discover a new way of looking at things. The things that used to scare you will no longer scare you. You'll feel fine about yourself, and you'll have a new power. You'll be able to now face whatever it is that was messing with you before, and it will become part of you and all that. And then you'll come back to your normal world, but when you return, you're going to be a different person. You'll have achieved your goal, but more so, you'll have changed internally, and you'll have gotten a new internal resource. So this is how almost everything in life works, when it comes to our daily lives or our entire full lives. And so we're going to learn how to use this chart to more deliberately create our life. Because as you can see, if you look at this chart, the green part is all about your inner journey of beliefs, feelings, and thoughts. If you look at that green part of the chart carefully, you'll realize that. Then the gray part, the outer one, is all about your outer journey. So any journey of achievement or change or whatever sort of takes this 12 steps and goes all around almost all these 12 steps. So we'll look at that in detail in the book. Now, the book also has practical tools you can use. We call them human technology tools. Like, for example, we'll go through some very quickly. There's this one, Ego Script. This one helps you change your beliefs, feelings, thoughts, and emotions, so you can change the physical results that you might be experiencing. We have Levels Recall. This one is related to the 9 levels of consciousness we talked about. Chakra Script helps you understand where you're losing your energy and your authentic power, where you're making choices that are not congruent to who you really are. Okay, and then there's Beliefs Liberator. This one helps you release limiting beliefs and adopt new ones that are really more, in line with what it is that you wish to be or achieve or whatever. Illusion Buster helps you remember that you're the creator of your challenges. In other words, you don't have a problem, you are the problem, and thus you are the solution. So it helps you kind of pull back your energy out of those kind of things. So like you've seen, this book has theory and it's got practical tools you can use. So that's it. I hope you get this book. This is really great. This is book 2 in the Happy Pocket trilogy, and it's all about the individual, the nature of your individual reality and how you can become a deliberate creator with as the being that you are today, because you really are a very powerful being. So for more information, just go to ahappypocket.com. Thank you very much for your time.